go in and try to do the entire chapter's worth of homework. I think the best option that you have is to watch a video, maybe two, if it's a shorter one, because they do vary quite a bit in the length. Watch one or two videos and then go and see if you can do the homework. And if you come across a question like I don't know what I'm doing here, I don't know what's going on, it could be that it's a topic that you haven't gotten to yet, and so then maybe you can start watching some more. Or if you recognize, no, this is the same topic that was in the video, but I still don't know what's going on, then maybe you can supplement with the book, supplement with other YouTube channels, and things like that to try and help you out. I think that is the best way to do those assignments.
Yeah, funny that you say that. That's how I did the first homework assignment. I watched all the chapter 1 lecture videos and then went straight into the homework assignments, and man, that killed me.
Yeah, especially if you did you try to watch all the videos at once, or did you watch them over several days?
I watched them all at once. It took me a good half the day.
Yeah, there's a lot of material in each of the chapters. There's multiple hours of material in each of those chapters, and so especially if you're not in a classroom, like if you're just at home where there's things distracting you, or if you're eating lunch in the middle of watching the videos, like it can be really tough to have all of that stuff covered and then and not have a lab or something where it's reinforced, not have any other topics, because that's one of the really nice things about an on-campus class, is that first of all, you're in class. It should be, anyway, the only thing you're doing in the classroom. You have me there where I can answer questions, but then also when you're done with lecture, in the summer section anyway, every day we have lab as well. We would have a lab after lecture every day during the summer. And so then the topics would get reinforced in the lab. And so it's definitely tougher here where everything is online, when you try to do all the lecture material and then you try to go do all of the homework material. Like, it can be done, but it's not the easiest way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And I could say personally, yeah, it's pretty tough.
Yeah. And by the way, I know I mentioned this in the email, but I did want to mention it here as well, that I am recording this, so don't tell any Deep Dart secrets or anything like that while we're on here. It's just so that people can watch it later and not miss out on anything that might happen. I think we should go ahead and get into any stuff that you all might have questions over. I didn't really have anything prepared for today. I could introduce myself a little bit better if you would like me to, but it's up to you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, well, you know my name, Dr. Decker, and you know my voice too. I was thinking about that earlier today. I was like, oh, it's going to be weird for them hearing my voice for the first time. They're like, no, they've been watching videos of me for a week and a half now. But I am a Tulsa native. I've lived here almost all of my life. My family moved to North Carolina for a couple years when I was not quite a teenager, but close. And then we moved back after that. I have taught here at TCC for 6.5 years, something like that. 6.5, 7 years, something along those lines. I started off part-time and started full-time 5 years ago. And I've been teaching there at West Campus this whole time. I did teach one class at Metro. My very first class was a summer Gen Chem 1 class at Metro, and that was the summer that there was a fire at Metro. And so my very first class got moved to Northeast. It was a mess of a semester. But anyway, this is my first time teaching this class fully online. Obviously, last semester when all this craziness happened, we started out on campus, but then in the middle of the semester had to move online. So this is the first time that I've taught the class fully online, but at the end of last semester I was teaching this online, which is why you might have noticed that I have videos for chapters the very end of 5 up through the end. That was because those are the videos I made for last semester. So this is going to be a little bit of an adventure for all of us, just because I've never taught this fully online before, and I'm going to do the best I can, and hope to get lots of feedback from you all on that. A few other quick things about me. I have 3 kids. They are Simon, Elliot, and Oliver. They are all 4 years old. They are triplets. And so if there are, if you email me and it takes me a couple days to get back to you, it's probably because they're here at the house with me and they're keeping me very busy. I'm going to try and keep that to a minimum. I'm going to try and respond to emails, with the exception of over the weekends. Get to my emails within 24 hours, but they certainly do keep me very busy. And I'm also a huge nerd, which you might have guessed from the introduction discussion board questions that I suggested this last week. By the way, my answer, I don't remember if I put that in there or not, but my answer to the Star Wars question was Return of the Jedi. That's my favorite of the Star Wars movies. I fully recognize it is not technically the best movie. The story and things like that are not quite as good as Empire Strikes Back. It's kind of corny at times. The Ewoks are a little bit strange, the little teddy bears fighting off stormtroopers, but at the same time, it's still my favorite. I can look past its flaws. So that's a little bit about me. Do you all have questions about topics from this? I guess from chapters 1 through 3, although you probably haven't gotten to chapter 3 yet in the material. But is there anything that you've come across that you have questions over?
I don't have any questions. Most of it's pretty, I guess, self-explanatory for me anyways, because I went over it a couple times, reading over the chapter a couple times myself, so.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Emma?
I'm feeling confident on the content, but it would be really helpful to hear a little bit more about what does taking an exam at the campus testing center look like?
Okay, so yes, we can talk about, I guess you could call it administrative stuff. So things with the shutdown and everything, things are still in flux, but I believe at this point we are not going to be able to take exams at the testing center. I thought that we were going to be able to a couple weeks ago when I was writing the syllabus and working everything out, because I was under the impression that the campuses were going to be at least partially open, and Metro is partially open. And so I thought, at the very least, maybe they'd be able to take the exam at Metro. But from what I have been told, and again, things are still a little bit in flux on this, but from what I have been told, there will not be testing accommodations available on campus. And so what that will mean is that we're going to have to take exams online, which is what I did the second half of last semester. So it can be done. I've done that before, but it is certainly not ideal. There is some kind of a new testing system that they just rolled out 2 days ago, and I have not had time to look it over. And what it is essentially some way of trying to keep students from cheating, essentially, on online exams, trying to lock down their browsers so they can't just Google the answers to questions and things like that. Like I said, I haven't had time to look it over thoroughly. At this point, unless it's very different from what I think it is, I probably will not use that system. mainly just because every system that I'm aware of that is similar to that, and unless there is actually a living person watching the student through a webcam as they're taking the exam, there is no way of keeping students from doing things like that. Because even if you have something that locks down your computer where the only thing you can do until you finish the exam is work through the exam, so you can't access the browser, you can't look at Word files or anything on your computer, even with those types of things, which are out there and have limited usefulness, even with those type of things, most people have a smartphone. Most people will have a tablet or a laptop or something else that they can use to access the internet. And so even if you lock down the computer where the exam is being taken, you're not keeping them from looking stuff up. Like, it's just that's you're kidding yourself if you think that you're actually keeping people from looking things up if you lock down the computer that they're taking the exam on. And so really what you're doing there is in that sense, you are unfairly, I would be unfairly penalizing essentially the people that take the exams properly, and would be giving advantage to the people that are unfairly taking the exam, that actually do use their smartphone to look up answers and things like that. And so I don't think, again, unless there's something drastically different about this new system that takes me by surprise and I realize, oh, this actually is useful, it will probably just be a plain old normal Blackboard exam, which if you've never taken a Blackboard exam before, no need to worry. I will be putting up an example exam maybe later this week, probably next week. Let me look at my schedule again here. So yeah, the exam is next week. So yeah, I'm going to try and get the example exam up this week, but it'll probably be the very beginning of next week. And so you'll be able to get a feel for what that exam looks like. It's going to be mostly short answer, some multiple choice questions, some like matching questions, things like that. So that, right now anyway, is the plan for the exams. And I know that was not as specific as I would like to be. I wish that I could say this is definitely what's going to happen, but just with everything changing, things are in a relative amount of flux. But I would say since the exam is next week, there's a very small, there's very little chance that it will change between now and next week. So it will very likely just be a normal Blackboard exam for next week. Now maybe if things change towards the end, maybe we could figure out some way where the final would be different, but I don't see things changing very much, in the next 7 days. Any questions over that?
Nope. None. I'll definitely. Thanks for asking that, Emma. I totally flew over my head about that. So.
Couple quick other things, just kind of administrative bookkeeping stuff, just to remind you all about. So we are now officially in week 2, so we have a little bit more material to work through this week than last week. I tried not to give too much stuff in week 1, just since we're getting started and getting things going. But this week we do have a homework chapter, just like last week, but we have 2 labs instead of just 1. We won't do that very often. I think actually there's only one other week where we will have 2 labs, but we do need to have 2 labs during those 2 weeks, just so we can get in all the labs that I want to get done. So make sure that you're doing lab 2 and lab 3, so that the 2 and the 3 don't specify the week that they're going to be done. It's just the numerical order And then we have a discussion board 2 this week as well. And I should have discussion board 1 graded later today. Discussion board 1 is super easy to grade because it's just an introduction. It's just like, did you introduce yourself? Yes, you did. Okay, good. So because discussion board 1 is so easy to grade, it should go really fast. Lab 1, I'm hoping to have graded maybe tomorrow. I think I'll have time tomorrow to grade Lab 1, so be watching for those. I might not have time to get all of those graded tomorrow, but if you are the one of the lucky people whose name starts higher in the alphabet, you might get your Lab 1 graded tomorrow, because I just start at the top and just work my way down. Let me see, any other bookkeeping stuff I want to talk about? Don't think so. There's one other thing real quick you might have noticed in the labs folder that before this morning anyway, there were a couple labs missing. Labs 4 and 5 were missing. I did find something to put in for lab 4 today. The reason they were missing is I hadn't decided what I wanted to do yet. But I did find something for lab 4. I'm hoping maybe later today I can get lab 5 put in there, so then you would have all the labs available that you can look at. Obviously don't try to do all of them right now. Do them when they come up. But it's a similar type thing with the discussions. Right now I only have the first 3. I'm working on creating the instructions for the later discussion boards. I have one of them done, and I just haven't uploaded it yet. But the other ones I have not worked out what I would like you to talk about. It's surprisingly difficult to write discussion boards for a chemistry class, but they'll be up before you need to work on them. So just wanted to let you all know about that.
Okay, cool.
Anything else that you all have questions about?
I don't have any.
Okay. Anything else, Emma?
Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Well, I guess I'll let you all go. Then I won't keep you here anymore. So go get to work on that stuff. Oh, just real quick, by the way, are either of you taking any other classes, just out of curiosity, this summer?
I'm also taking anatomy with lab.
Ooh.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
This is my only class for the summer.
Okay. Boy, Emma, you are a glutton for punishment, huh?
It is a lot of exams.
Yeah, yeah. Not that either of these classes are terrible. It's just summer classes are tough, just because everything is so compressed. So.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until the last moment when I looked at the syllabus. I'm like, wait, it's only 8 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. It is compressed into half the space, and so everything is. So yeah, Emma, with you taking 2 classes, that is. It's the equivalent of 4 classes worth of work, essentially. So I know you can do it. I know you can succeed in those classes, and I'll do my best to help you get through this one as best as I can. So
Thank you.
good luck to both of you, and like I said, email me if you have questions. And for those of you that are watching this video later on YouTube, if you're not able to come on this time, feel free to email me a question, like a practice problem or something, if you want me to work through it on the screen here. You can see I can write on the screen to work through questions with you all. So feel free to do that. And I guess I will talk to you all next week.
All right. Well, see you next week then.
Have a good day.